Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Back of the Nest Preview Podcast. I'm your host, Terence Ford, and Sam Hesketh and Albert Curley are here to build you up to the FA Cup fixture. We're in the fourth round, lads. We scored a goal, and we've somehow made it through. And it's the monkey hangers of Hartlepool that are coming to visit Sellers Park. Albert, what the fuck does monkey hangers mean?
Well, it's not a craft beer before you get all excited.
I mean, I would drink it.
Well, we know that. Well, yeah, for listeners that don't know, I mean, I can't believe we alluded to it before we started recording. I can't believe it's not been made into a film. But the nickname comes from, I think it was in like the 18th or 19th century or something. Off the coast of Hartlepool, there was what was suspected to be a French, I'm going to say, Navy ship that was like clearly in distress and sinking. Some people went out to see if there was any survivors, and the only thing they found on board was a little monkey in a Navy uniform, reportedly, and nobody from Hartlepool had ever met a French person before. So they thought that was a French spy, and so they arrested it, interrogated it, obviously trying to get it to, reveal what it was doing, why it was there. And obviously, it's a monkey; it can't really talk, and so because it didn't comply, it exercised its right to remain silent. As is. So they publicly hung the poor little thing. And so that's why they're called the monkey hangers.
That's way darker than I thought it was going to be.
They're called monkey hangers. Like there's no. What did you think it was going to be? Forget how they got there.
I just thought it was a monkey hanging from something. I didn't I thought you was going to tell me
from a fucking noose.
I thought you was going to tell me it was hanging from the mast of the ship as it went down or something. I didn't realise.
No, I mean, I don't know why it would be in a little French Navy uniform. That seems a bit of a stretch. But yeah, I mean, and even if it could talk, it would have been French anyway, so it wouldn't have been able to. The interrogation was a waste of time.
Would it have been ooh 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 ooh, ooh la la?
Oh shit!
Jesus.
Come on, I'm having all of that.
I'm thirsty. I want a beer. What about you? You want a beer?
So, alert, I don't have a beer. I'm sick again. I'm putting it down to the pandemic messing up with my immune system. So I'm on hot toddies again. So I'm going to be steaming by halfway through this. Hesketh, you went for Cantonar's beer.
It doesn't have Cantonar in it anymore. I wouldn't have it in the house if it did. I had a can of Kronenberg, which even Albert's turning his nose up at. So I feel like I'm going to get proper abuse on the BBS about my beer drinking.
Albert's never recovered from his mate not getting the beers when they were teenagers.
Yeah, the Kronenberg 1066 Battle of Hastings special. It's taking so long to record. I was drinking is it an Angelo Peretti, which sounds like a bad tribute to Birra Moretti, but it's actually nicer. But I've run out and we're recording now, so I can't go for the top up.
Cool. So what we've been up to, Hesketh, I hear you went to a gig and a young person looked up and said, "Oh, there's some old people here."
Yeah, that's a good way to start the week off. I was stood in the freezing cold. I was stood in the freezing cold in North London, so I was already.
Was there a draft?
Particularly happy.
Was there?
Was it on draft?
This is terrible. And yeah, some girl walked past on her phone, literally looked me dead in the eye and went, "Oh wow, there's actually older people here."
Older, that's fine, isn't it? Don't be so sensitive. How old was she? Roughly.
Teenager.
Right, so there you go.
Yeah, but
You're
to a teenager, 40 is old, isn't it?
Were you seeing Ariana Grande or something?
I wasn't, although she's quite good.
Who were you seeing?
I was seeing a guy called Mustafa the Poet. He is...
Is it a wrestler?
It's not a wrestler. He's...
Oh.
I guess it's folk. That's what I'm told to call it, but that makes it sound a bit rubbish.
I mean,
listen to it.
It sounds
really
like it sounds like a gig that only old people would be out, to be honest.
No, I think me and Vanessa were like, I don't want to say the oldest people. There.
Easy. Don't bring age into it.
Yeah. Anyway, it was good. It was fun. I just didn't like getting mugged off and being in North London whilst it happened. It's not fun.
Outrageous. Albert, what have you been up to? 2 weeks, been a long time. I feel like the entire world has changed since.
Why? What's happened? It's same old shit for me, mate. I don't know. January's just gone, man, and I'm glad it's gone because there's been a lot of January drama, which I won't go into. But yeah, I'm glad it's fucked off.
Did you? How did dry January go? Was it only Millwall that done you in, or?
You know full well how it went.
Oh dear.
Millwall was I was going to say it was the straw that broke the camel's back, but what was that, like January the 7th or something? I make it sound like I lasted longer than I did. I've definitely cut down. You know, it's been drier, a bit like Sam. It wasn't a dry January; it was a drier January. You know, Sam's not old; he was just older.
Nice. I went to Bristol Rovers last weekend, or just gone. Bristol Rovers against Walsall in League Two. Best mate's dad celebrating his 50th anniversary. I think I said on the last pod of supporting Bristol Rovers. So we had a box and all of that. Fuck me, the standard was awful. It was real bad.
I think the question that's on both our lips, Albert and I, is what temperature was the rice pudding and how was the coolie?
Oh, it wasn't actually. The food was probably better than it was in the box at Palace, to be honest. It was like some sort of like beef stroganoff type thing. So new potatoes, the lot, like green beans. It was all right. Got in trouble for drinking Jameson's in view of the pitch.
Just shut your eyes.
Yeah, but it was very interesting. They put on a great day for him, and the owner came up, who guest of honor with him was Alex McLeish. Weirdly, it was a very strange day. They had a Bristol Rovers legend who no one would have heard of, because I knew a guy called Paul Randall, who's one of their top scorers all the time, was in the box with us. It was a really good day. And Rovers scored a 91st minute winner, so good day all round. And good to see some lower level football as well, you know. None of this passing out from the back shit.
Well, you say that. I went to see Wealdstone FC versus Notts County last Tuesday. And Notts County, I can't remember the manager's name, but he's Graham Potter's protege. Notts County were very much trying to play it out from the back. And
lost 4-0, giving it away 4 times.
Yeah, didn't work. It was a shit 0-0. It was awful.
Did you see the Wealdstone Raider? Was he there patrolling?
He might have been there. There was a lot. What I loved about it was I was in the away end. I went with a friend who's a Notts fan, and we were sort of like not in the corner, but a little bit down from the corner along the touchline. And there was a gate that we were next to, and then there must have been about literally 8 feet, and then there was another gate, and then the home fans were there, and there was just like a Notts fan and a Wealdstone fan literally just telling each other to like fuck off, but no louder than I am speaking to you now, because they were just that close. It's like, fuck off. You fuck up, fucking. and credit to him, the turnstiles in the away end was a hollowed out shipping container with a little makeshift turnstile in there, which I was quite impressed by. It was low key, but quite interesting. And I have to say, the food, the 3 old deers knocking the burgers out in the van inside the ground, way better than anything you get at Palace.
Some jokes in there somewhere. I'm going to let them go. So, in one of your future movies, we're going to see a hollowed out fishing container. Are we getting some inspiration?
Done it already, mate. If you watch, if you watch Edge of Tomorrow,
and he was just playing the lead, the fishing container in that one, was he? No, we've had a. Your birthday, obviously, we talked about in the last pod, Hesketh, but listeners would be pleased to know we got the message through from Clinton Morrison. He waited to the last minute, came up trumps, didn't he, Albert?
He did.
Right, so we're going to play it for you now. Have a listen.
Great.
To Sam, I've been asked to send you a message from Terence and Albert, so I just want to wish you a happy birthday. I hear you're part of the Back of the Nest podcast, which I've been on a couple of times, and I've really enjoyed it, so keep up the good work. I hear you're turning the big 40 soon, so have a great birthday. I remember when I turned 40, it was a great occasion. Life begins at 40, mate, so make sure you enjoy yourself as much as you can. I hear you're a massive comic book fan and a Spider-Man fan. Well, now you get to 40, mate, you need to grow up a bit more now and, be a fan of something else. I heard recently you asked for a photo outside Sellers Park from me, which I probably did let you have, but you're 40 now and you've got a massive grey beard, so you shouldn't be asking for pictures with me outside Sellers Park. I had to do that joke, mate. I apologise. And also another thing, I hear you never predict a win for Palace on the preview podcast. So that means I'm starting to think now you might be a secret Brighton fan. I hope that's not true, mate. I hope you're not a Brighton fan. I hope you're Palace through and through. The Super Eagles. Keep supporting Palace. Have a great birthday, mate. Happy 40th. And if you are a Brighton fan, then I will never speak to you again or come back on the podcast. All the best, mate. Take care. Hope you have a great time.
We only asked him to do a couple of those jokes. The Brighton stuff he just added in himself.
I just say, could you just wish Sam happy birthday? That's all I wanted. And he's
somehow he remembered you from having the picture outside.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, what an introduction into my 40th year, being absolutely mugged off by my favourite player.
40 first year.
Fuck you. Being absolutely mugged off by one of my favourite players of all time. So I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, brilliant.
By the way, Sam, we were going 3 ways on that, so you owe me about 18 quid. So.
Okay, great, thanks.
Oh, shit, I need to send you some money for that. We'll sort that out after. Clinton Morrison was on Sky Sports doing deadline day stuff the other day. And there was, I can't even remember his name off the top of my head now, but a former Glasgow Rangers player, and he was trying to mock Clinton about Ramsey choosing Rangers over Palace. Did you see this, Hesketh?
I did, yeah. Chris Boyd.
Yeah, nice.
He
went to town.
I did see that. He did. It basically was like, if Palace played Rangers, we beat him easily. They'd want 5 or 6 of our players. He had like a really dismissive, like wave of the hand, like piss off, mate. And then was just like, next, carry on. Great.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So, what we got going on? Kiate. Albert, Senegal are in the final again. Second AFCON running. Not sure who's in the other semi. Egypt and Cameroon, the hosts Cameroon. So be getting Mane versus Salah in the final. But Palace player could bring home a trophy this season, Albert. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then everyone says he's leaving, so it's just as it all started to look rosy. No, listen, I want Palace players to succeed. So yeah, absolutely. Let's hope he does it.
Yeah, really would be nice to see any of them come back with something. And he must be gutted after last time, after having such a good tournament and getting pipped in the final. Talking about former Palace players, Ishmael is gone. Hesketh, he's been sacked by West Brom. Bullet dodged. We were certainly talking to him at some stage, and quite a few Palace fans bit unhappy that we missed out on him and got Vieira in. But I mean, West Brom are 5th, but I guess they should be probably expecting to be top in that division.
Yeah, and from what I've read on like Twitter and that, they're not playing the same sort of football. They weren't playing the same sort of football that he played at Barnsley, and apparently he's just a sort of manager where when it wasn't going great and it obviously needed to be changed, he just didn't change it. So they turned on him pretty quickly, and I think he's had a row with Sam Johnston, their goalie, who's one of, or probably the best player at the club. So it just sounds like one of those things where it's not going great, and then he does that. It's sort of like the final nail in the coffin, isn't it? Although I think the actual final nail in the coffin was losing to Millwall. So
yeah, that should be the
not
final
great.
nail in anyone's coffin. And going to be potentially replaced by Steve Bruce, who I think retired from playing the season Ishmael signed for Palace, or maybe the season after that. So massive age difference there. Albert, this is mental that this just continues this whole merry-go-round of that core of managers who you got in that. So your Pardew's, your Allardyce's, your Hodgson's, your Mark Hugheses, all managing the same sort of 7 clubs, basically.
Yeah, Warnock, Pulis, all of them. Where's Warnock now? Is he still at Borough, or did he go?
No, he went.
He's gone, but I did read today that he's put his name forward for the Sunderland job. He said, "I'd be happy to manage Sunderland." So just give me a
last
call.
job in football.
Yeah,
He's still got a few of those signed pictures in his bum bag that he needs to get rid of.
yeah.
Just
Cluttering up the place.
Gets like stickers to put over the Middlesbrough badge, so it just is a Sunderland crest instead.
Waste not, want not. Yeah. It'd be weird to think that, fast forward 5-10 years when, not being horrible, some of those names that you've listed will probably be dead. Like, who's gonna be the new manager? Who's gonna be that new managerial merry-go-round rat pack? We're gonna be like, oh, Eddie Howe's rocked up again, or like who's it gonna be?
Well, there's far fewer. I guess Dean Smith is already ticking a few of them off.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Eddie Howe's a likely candidate, I guess, just because of his age. He's going to be knocking around a bit. Lampard might have
I was going to say Lampard.
Yeah, Lampard for sure.
Yeah, so there's plenty waiting in the wings, I think, to take over the mantle. But it's not an easy thing to do, It's a very bespoke skill, I guess. And be interesting to see if others can do it.
Being shy, getting paid to fuck
but just
off.
not shy enough,
Yeah.
Well, maybe another person who'd be in with a shout is Kevin Phillips, who has got his first managerial job. Yep, South Shields. No entitlement there. No jumping in at championship level or anything. Down and dirty in the nitty gritty of the North East. West.
South, you just said. South Shields, you just said. You look stupid.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, good. So good luck to Kevin Phillips up there.
Down there. South.
Whatever, mate. Wait, South Shields is in the North East, right? I'm not going nuts.
It's near Newcastle, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's got South. Listen, move on.
South Shields is.
You'll be telling us that Watford's in London next, Albert.
No, I won't.
Unsurprisingly, South Shields appears to be right next to North Shields.
Steward's inquiry, please.
The River Tyne separates them. There you go. So it is in the North East. But anyway, good luck to Kevin Phillips up there. Transfer news. Lots of, obviously, deadline days happened. We've had lots of comings and goings. Start of a former Palace player. Former favourite of the pod, Max Meyer, has not even made it at Fenerbahce. They've loaned him out to Midtjylland.
Midtjylland, I think, is it?
Midtjylland sounds more like it, actually. That's a name sounds like I've heard.
South Midtjylland.
They're fucking going south if they're signing Max Meyer, that's for sure.
Do we have to admit?
He just needs more game time.
I was going to say, do we have to admit that actually maybe he wasn't that good?
He wasn't that good.
Yeah, but there is an argument that being left out for 3 years in the cold in a time that he needed to be developing his game was probably not ideal.
I'll take that. We were right.
Albert's just not having it, is he? Like, not having it.
Jesus.
Where does he rank in overpaid flops at Palace? Like top of the pile on, was it 86 grand a week or whatever?
Oh, I wish you hadn't told me that. Just another fucking overhyped Jose Campagna.
Jose Campagna, who's actually really good now.
Well,
because he didn't get left to rot for 3 years. He went and actually got regular game time in his formative years and actually managed to turn into somewhat of a decent player.
Fair enough. But he's, Max Meyer has just been a complete, not just at Palace, as this whole story has only highlighted. So
there was a signing for Flamengo in South America. Felipe Luis signed for Flamengo. And during his press conference, a journalist was viewing a video on his phone and got caught out by the porn sound prank. Do you know what porn sound I'm talking about? The famous one that's all over all the videos. Sounds like this.
Boom, 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 boom. Matte's in the room. There ain't no striker better than John Philly Matte. Boom, boom, boom.
Can you play that again, please?
Of course, Jean-Philippe Mateta has signed permanently on a 4.5-year deal, which means I've now got 4.5 years worth of usage.
now I know how Billiam feels every time he plays Colgate advert.
What, this
Get
one?
10 times longer cooling with Colgate Plax mouthwash. Now,
yeah, but at least he gets paid for it.
Yeah, that's true.
He's probably got another £4 there or something.
I need to speak to his agent.
So, Albert, we happy with Mateta signing? Do you think it makes sense, or still unsure about him?
I think at that nice price, it's a worthy deal to make. We're not blessed with huge amount of options up front, and for £7 million, if he can kind of develop a bit more and maybe become a bit more prime time Benteke, it'd be a good investment. There's definitely something there, and if it still doesn't work out in a year, 18 months time, it's not the biggest outlay, but he seems to want to be here. He seems to enjoy being here a bit more. I mean, the Millwall goal / celebration will live long in the memory, and that's not even thinking about the rascal Brighton goal. I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, and I think just that sort of money is squad player kind of average now these days in the Premier League level. Teams want to make you pay that sort of money, and he's got a couple of goals under his belt. And it's Albert's touched on it there, Hesketh. It's all the players still talking about really enjoying being at Palace. Even now that we've had quite a bit of a turnover in players, it seems like the core values of the club has remained, and players are enjoying being part of the Palace team.
Yeah, it does. And even, like I watch the training videos sometimes on YouTube, and they all seem to be having a lot more of a laugh, and not to slight what happened in previous seasons, because I'm sure they didn't hate it, but it definitely looks like everyone's really enjoying going into training every day and, playing the way that we play. So, yeah, I mean, whenever you hear interviews with players, they always say, oh, it's a good group of lads or whatever, but it does seem pretty genuine this time. So lots of positive signs.
Indeed. And hopefully that'll be a good environment for old Plange to come in next season. Albert is another youth talent plucked from the Championship, adding to the list of Eze and Elise in recent years. And of course, this one comes about from what Wayne Rooney's called us taking advantage of a team in trouble, even though we've paid a lot more than we necessarily had to for someone who's played 8 games out of contract. So how do you feel now that the shoe's on the other wide-fitting foot?
Well, it's a bit rich from a granny shagger, talking about taking advantage of the vulnerable.
You're just going to let that one marinate.
What an image! It's a business. It's a business. We've obviously paid a price that Derby and the administrators are happy with. It's £1 million. We know what it's like on that side of the fence, and I didn't hear anybody fucking playing the violins for us when we lost Klein and fucking Moses and Fonte. It happened to us several times over, and £1 million isn't anything to be sniffed at. And we've let him stay there on loan. And is it true we're picking up the wages? Because again, we didn't necessarily have to do that. So all things considered, that they've still got their player, and they've got £1 million in their pocket.
Yeah, and all what I've read from Derby fans and essentially everyone at Derby other than Wayne Rooney, they're all very positive about Palace and how we've gone about the deal, and like you say, picking up the wage, letting him stay with them for the whole season, and they all seem to really like him. And apparently, I was going by some replies to Wayne Rooney's quote. Derby nicked a couple of Wigan's players when Wigan were in admin for like bargain basement prices. So they're all saying, it's a bit rich for you to sort of try and bin off Palace of done
try to do the right thing.
Yeah, financially helping out more than perhaps we needed to. And like Albert said, it's not like we're losing, they're losing Victor Moses, who was a bona fide star for peanuts at the time. So yeah, it's an exciting signing, and I think what we've done sort of follows on from the sort of subsidising the Hartlepool fans, coaches to the cup game, and that it's good PR at the worst, and like just a very good way to act at best, I think.
Yeah, and we'll get into some more good PR when we get talking about Hartlepool and what we've done for the fans coming down for that one. Who should we go to next? Let's do the players out, youth players. So who we got in a skiff? Ollie Webber. Oh dear. Albert's just shared a picture of Paul Jewell in the WhatsApp group. If you know, then you know what picture he's showing.
And if you don't go looking.
Yeah, still not forgiving Derby for that, to be honest. I know it's not their fault, but
yeah, there's a joke in there about Rams, but I'm going to let it go. Ollie Webber Hesketh has left permanently for Portsmouth from the youth team. But there were a few more that have gone out on loan.
Yeah, so I guess the two main ones were Luke Dray has gone to Burnley. Burnley, what am I talking about? I'm Christian Benteke's social media guy. Bromley, which is great. I mean, obviously he was very highly thought of before the injury, so it'd be good to see if he can sort of get games and do well there. And Rob Street has gone to Newport, who I think are doing all right, actually. I think they're at the sort of good half of the table in League Two, and came on as a sub, I think, on the weekend. So yeah, he's had a good season for the 23s, so it'd be good to see him hopefully get some goals for them. And then a couple of other 23s have gone out. Danny Imre has gone to Chelmsford, who I think we signed him from. I might be wrong with that. And Dylan Thistleton has gone to Farnborough, so sort of lower divisions, but good that we're getting players out on loan because, for a couple of years, none of our youth players really seem to go anywhere. So good experience for them, I think.
Yeah, so Newport County currently sit third in League Two. 12 points off of runaway leaders, Forest Green Rovers. But yeah, well up there. I must confess, Dylan Thistleton.
Yep.
Oh?
I think he's a right back. This is where I'm showing that
Yeah, no,
I should
at
spend.
least you know his name. I'm none the wiser to who that is. But we'll go with right back until you panic to look at me and say, no, actually, he's not. And that's, I guess, the final thing to talk about that's happened since the last pod. Albert's Golden Boys.
Hui.
There you go.
He's back.
He's back. How are we feeling about it, Albert?
Good luck to him. Good luck to them. No hard feelings, boy.
Shout out to James Lane on Twitter, who responded by saying, I reckon Mrs. Roy just wants Elton John farewell gig tickets, and this was the only way Roy could get them. I think this was in response to me showing a video where Ray Lewington was wearing tracksuit bottoms, not shorts, during a training session, which
He's
clearly
not taking
means
it
they're not
seriously.
taking it seriously. Exactly.
Their
feels
training
weird.
ground right next to my son's school, so I'll be sure to, if I see him, to send him your best.
Oh, maybe that's why he's got to wear trousers.
That's true.
But he's in a lot better position with Watford than he was when he came into us, for example. So you could see why it would appeal to him. I think there's a good chance he can keep him up, really, and put.
I saw today that the first thing they've done is that Ozan Tufan guy, who we were linked with every window for like 5 years. The first thing that's happened is his loan's been cancelled and he's been sent back to Turkey. So
it's like Dougie was trying to shove him down my fucking throat for 4 years at Palace. You can fuck right off back to Turkey.
You're supposed to be at an airport.
Let's not take the piss here.
Let's not take the fucking piss here. He's he said you can go back and fucking replace Max Meyer at Fenerbahce, you dickhead.
I hope you have a nice flight.
Wow. But yeah, as I say, what I like about it is that it's sort of everyone would have written Watford off as definitely relegated before that, but now it jeopardises the likes of Newcastle, keeping them down there.
Have they said how long the contract is? Is it just to the end of the season, or?
No, I can't imagine he would have done that. I would imagine he would have done at least 2 years, or like either a year and a half or 2.5 years.
In practice with their owners, probably March.
Well, I thought they've sacked him in the past as well, haven't they? He was
at Udinese.
Udinese, yeah. Let's have a look what he's getting at Watford. But yeah, you say hopefully he's just there for the payout. I don't know.
It's a long drive from Croydon to Watford, as I can vouch for. We might have to lift share.
Carpool all the way.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to play Watford twice this season still because of COVID cancellations. So
are we all looking forward to him Roy balling us and them scoring with their only shot on target in a 1-0 win?
If it's going to go one of two ways, it's either that or Mateta's going to score a hat-trick and go over and get up in his face and
just boot him like the corner flag.
Karate kick him, yeah.
Roy's neck just swallows his foot whole, doesn't let it go. No, I don't mean to disrespect Roy. Come on now.
But you did.
What? What? Are you trying to talk?
No, I just said, but you did.
Oh, right. Sorry, you just cut out. But I did, yeah. I apologise. Kevin Friend is the last one. He's been demoted from fixtures after his debacle against Liverpool. And the next round of Premier League fixtures, he is nowhere to be seen. I think he's been put into the Championship, which is a weird kind of punishment in itself. I'm kind of over it, Hesketh. How do you feel? I mean, things don't affect me as long as they used to before. I would have still been fuming about that 4 years later back in the day. But just in a long line of incompetence from a long line of incompetent referees.
Yeah, I was over it. It's funny you mentioned it today. I was over it until someone mentioned it today. One of my mates WhatsApped me and mentioned it, and then I started talking about it and then got pissed off again. So I guess I'm not over it. But yeah, all this like, he's not reffing this week, or he's reffing in the Championship. Great, that doesn't that doesn't help Palace, does it? So
what I don't get is, I know it was a generally inept performance, but obviously the big talking point was the penalty decision. But what I don't get, and listen, this is going to sound like I'm defending Kevin Friend, and I'm really not. He didn't call it as a penalty, and it was only when he was instructed to go and look at it by VAR, and we all know what happened there. I feel like it almost subconsciously just changes their mind. Like he got the initial call correct, and it was only the mechanics of VAR that sort of made him change his mind, which feels a bit strange.
The ref's been called to the monitor 49 times this season and has gone with the VAR 100% of the time. 49 out of 49. And it could have been a great chance there for him to just show some fucking backbone. Because everyone knows it's not a penalty. Like, you just see the outpouring after just from everyone in football. The only people who thought it was a penalty was the VAR ref, Diogo Jota, and Klopp, because Jota said it was a penalty. So other than that, but behind closed doors, Klopp can't be honestly saying he thinks that's a penalty. No way.
No, not a chance. And I do think I know that it was like referees need to come out after the games to explain themselves. Personally, I don't subscribe to that, but I do think in those instances where the referee has been advised to go and communicate with the video ref and watch the thing, I do think those recordings should be either, whatever you want to call it, transcribed, released, because it's one thing to say, I think you should look at that again, just to make sure you're sure. And it's another thing for someone else on the end of it to say, that's definitely a penalty, Kev. You should give that. Like, I feel like you need to hear that exchange. What the back and forth is there, what the justification is, and to just to see how that decision has been made.
And
is that going to happen though? Probably not.
Yeah, and of course, your point there was the crux of my last BBC article that I wrote.
Can we cut this bit out? Every week, I seem to inadvertently segue for you into the big BBC clang drop. I'm getting sick of it.
Of course, you'd in the WhatsApp group, you sent a little video for how you think the VAR might have sounded, the VAR conversation. Should we have a little listen to this?
Yeah, hello Kev, it's VAR here, yeah. He's definitely going to get the ball. The keeper's clattered him, mate. Absolutely clattered him. Solid pen. Definitely give him, mate. Okay, bye.
Not me, mate. I don't know what you're on about.
That was Craig Pawson talking to Kevin Friend, obviously. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of over it. I just laugh at it when I see it now. I'm just happy that the rest of the world laughed at it as well. And
Did you say that in your article? Is that
no? It was just the article was mainly just saying we just need to hear these conversations, because I didn't. There's, if we can hear that as that's going on, you're going to hear the gasps from the crowd, and it'll be good to see how you feel about your view then when 26,000 people in attendance, including Liverpool fans, just laughing, being like, what are you talking about? That's never a penalty. And you hear everyone shouting he's run into the player, because that's exactly what you'd hear.
Yeah, completely. I mean, when they trialled VAR, was it in like when, I mean, I'm going back a few years, didn't they trial it in like whatever it's called now, the Community Shield between United and Chelsea. And I don't know if it was VAR, but I remember definitely they released the audio of the ref's conversation with the, whatever you want to call it, video assistant, fourth official, and they kind of released it as like a case study in how they talk, how they communicate, and it's like, so it clearly can be done, and I think it's a good way to sort of. I like VAR as a principle. I think it's just being used appallingly, and I think that's a good way of sort of tightening it up and making sure it sort of itself is held to a.
Yeah. Oh, he's having a coughing fit. I hope he's okay.
I'm fine.
How are you feeling? Does he feel better now? Oh, he's still going. But no, exactly.
No, okay.
You're right. It's okay. But no, it's, I don't know. I'm with you. I like the principle of VAR. Just again, I think it's being implemented poorly, and there's better ways to go around it. If the whole clear and obvious language, and then Pawson viewed it 17 times before he sent it down to be viewed by Kevin Friends, it's not fucking clear and obvious, is it? So.
Yeah, exactly. It's you look at it. You get shown 3 angles. You get shown them once, and you have to make the call within 60 seconds. And if it can't be made after 60 seconds, it's not clear and obvious, and the original decision should stand. Done, sorted.
With the countdown clock running in the background.
Preferably.
On-field decision stands. Yeah, something like that. Right, so let's get into Hartlepool then. Coming up from League Two, having a fair old decent season. Hesketh have made the semi-final of the Papa John's Trophy and beating little old Charlton on penalties in the quarter-final. Not bad going there, which means this season they've beaten teams from League Two, League One and the Championship. So that only leaves one professional league left.
Yeah, they're doing really well. I was even for me, fairly confident when the draw was made. But after hearing that stat, as you guys know, and apparently Clinton Morrison knows, I'm now worried that we're going to be the giant killing scalp of the round. So hopefully they'll just be happy to have their big day out in the tiny little concourse at Selhurst Park and let us win and make sure that my mental health is not suffering too much.
Yeah, we've got they've got 4,700 people coming down to watch. All with coach travel subsidised by Palace. I think they've made it half price, and the tickets as well have been subsidised for them. 4,700 people is more than Hartlepool's average attendance has been for the last decade. The last time they had an average attendance higher than that was 4,900 in the season 2011-2012 when they were in League One. So
that's the pull of seeing AFCON's Jordan Ayew.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
So it's very going to be a big day out for them. Obviously, after the initial couple of Hartlepool journalists who wanted to suggest it was a terrible tie, but probably not feeling that way anymore. So really looking forward to it. Like the fact that we've sold it out is just incredible. Obviously, just a splattering of tickets left to go in the Homesdale, and that will be it. So I'm sure that'll all be gone by the time the game comes around. So really giving the FA Cup the treatment it deserves, and you can just see the excitement. It's kind of what Roy missed out on in the later parts by just sort of sacrificing it for the league survival and all of that, because we love to get behind a good FA Cup run, and hopefully that's where we're going. That's what we're embarking on at the moment. Who knows, another trip to Wembley. So if Hartlepool just allow us this one, then they can win their semi-final in the Papa John's and go to Wembley anyway. So everyone's happy. Everyone's a winner. I think they play Rotherham in the semi-final. Victoria, what's that stadium called? Not Victoria Park. That's where I live. The Victoria Ground, something like that. It is the 9th anniversary today on the day of recording, which is the 2nd of the 2nd, 2022. And it's also 22:22 on the clock right here. Lots of twos going about. It's 9-year anniversary since the infamous moment when Hartlepool won a game 2-1 with goals from Peter Hartley and James Paul. You never seen this?
No.
There's a picture of them side by side. It just says Hartlepool. And they both scored in that order as well. Hartley, then Paul scored the goals. They won 2-1. Classic. And talking of classics, it's 10 years to the day since a certain Danny Butterfield scored a perfect hat-trick.
Oh, take that, Wayne Hennessy.
Remember that like it was yesterday, Albert?
Yeah, I wasn't there though. I watched it on TV. Was it on TV?
Yeah.
It must have been. Yeah, that was mad. And I always like to go back and someone sort of cobbled together the Paul Merson. I guess you want to say commentary from Sky Sports News. It was Soccer Saturday, for want of a better term. And yeah, it was amazing. And to think with what all else was going on around the club at that time as well.
Yeah, it was humongous because then obviously got us Villa at Selhurst, and then we earned the replay, and Villa Park was pretty much sold out for the replay as well. So it was much
Valentine's
needed
Day,
funds.
wasn't it? The home fixture. I remember that because it was one of the first dates I took my now wife on. So thank you, Darren Ambrose. He smashed it in. He smashed it in from 30 yards, and and then we went for dinner after. Just get your minds out the gutter.
Yeah, I think you should have a long hard thinkle about that one before you make that joke, mate. But back to Hartlepool. Their form not so good since they beat Blackpool in the cup. Well, let's say not so good. They haven't lost, but they also haven't won. Drawn all the games. Obviously, beat Charlton on penalties eventually. Hesketh, this is another one that will go to penalties if full time and extra time is level.
I hope it doesn't.
Because you want to replay a midweek away in Hartlepool that we can get a team into?
New ground, exactly.
New ground.
I mean, I'd be a bit upset if it goes to penalties, not least because we'd probably lose them.
Yeah. It'd be really weird if we went up to Hartlepool as well with you, because after thinking that the French were monkeys, and then finding out what French people actually like, they'll be confused to meet a South London French person.
Yeah. They still might not understand me.
Yeah,
but
you'll end up hanging from a lamppost.
You are quite hairy as well. That's the risk that you run.
Mm.
This is a character assassination today. What's going on?
Hairy? That's not character based. That's just face based.
Whatever. Fine. Carry on. Move on.
Obviously, we want to, as you say there, move on into the next round of the FA Cup, but you also want to see some minutes for some youngsters against lower league opposition. And Jez Raksaki did not go out on loan. So you got to think that if they're not going to get him minutes elsewhere, because it's obviously the under 23s, he's just annihilating it whenever he plays at that level. So Albert, do you think this is the perfect game to give him some minutes in, maybe a half an hour at the end, depending how the game's going, or maybe even some time from the start?
Yeah, I wouldn't start him, to be honest. Just I'd like to see a stronger, more established team, even if it's kind of some of our. I mean, I don't think we've got a full second string, but we'll call it our second string. But yeah, listen, totally open to players like that coming on and getting half an hour at the end. Like you say, under 23s, he's smashing it. So Hartlepool, arguably are around probably a similar level. So yeah, like get him on and see what he can do, because you got to try these players at some point. And if you can't do it at home to Hartlepool, even if it's a half hour, 20 minutes at the end, then like you say, when is it going to happen?
So again, I'd love to talk more about Hartlepool. I don't know much about them. I just hope, as I say, much for me. I want a full strength team. I want to progress. I want to get through. See Mateta kicking some corner flags to do it nicely. Hesketh, you can take the honours on the first prediction.
I think Palace are going to win. Well, I don't know what to do now because I never predicted that. Let's say 3-1.
Well, the last time Hartlepool visited us in the cup, they beat us at Selhurst. So, with that in mind, Albert, what's it going to be?
Well, but league games, I think they've not won in 5. I think there's been a lot of draws in there. I'm very close to Sam's prediction. I'm gonna go 3-0 Palace. Not saying it's gonna be easy, but I think 3-0 should be a comfortable win.
I'll go 5. We're doing for 5. Yeah. Much like I said against Millwall, we got the players to and we played a style of football to smash lower league opposition off the park, just like we did with Millwall. Eventually, I guess in the second half for a small period of time. But yeah, no, Celis, I just think will be too much for them. Part of me doesn't want to hammer them 5-0 because I want them to have a bit of a day out. Maybe take the lead and we come back and win 3-1 would be nice. But yeah, I think we'll just have a bit too much for them. But we shall wait and see on Saturday. Hope everyone enjoys the game. Hope you've enjoyed the pod. Thank you for listening. It's nice to be back after a couple of weeks off. All normal services resume next week. Really recommend heading over to Back of the Nest YouTube channel. Turns out one of DR's mates from school plays for Hartlepool, and he's got him on the show.
Of course he does.
So there's going to be a video of DR interviewing his friend talking about Hartlepool. So they'll be able to give you a lot more insight on the monkey hangers than I can. Thank you for the story, Albert, at the start. Really nice to...
You're welcome.
Really good kick-off to the pod this week. But yeah, so we'll be back next week. We've got Brentford.
No, we've got Norwich next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. So we will be, reviewing that on Thursday, I imagine, and previewing Brentford on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
New ground there. We got one new ground in this year.
Indeed. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Congratulations to everyone who got a ticket. It was quite the saga, and the first time loyalty points were 8,000 or over for the first tier. So something maybe something will have to be done about that at some point, but that's another topic for another day. So look, until next Thursday evening, Thursday night, Friday morning for your ears. Up the Palace.